So hello and welcome to the Champ.ie Podcast previewing the Punchestown Festival day 1 and 2 in association with BetXS. My name is Barry Doyle. I'm joined by podcast regular Mr. Thomas Coyle, racehorse trainer from Batterstown, County Meath. Good evening, Thomas.
Hi Barry, how are you?
I'm not too bad. And also we have a first appearance for Ronan Groome, journalist with the Irish Field as well. Delighted to have Ronan on board. Another Meath man. We're getting top heavy here, lads.
On the roads, yeah. Cheers, Barry. Good to be on.
Yeah, brilliant. And we also have a special guest appearance from the legend of the Irish commentary box, Dessie Scahill, who retired in August. And we spoke to Dessie on a Skype call earlier on to discuss how his retirement has gone, and looking ahead maybe to the Punchestown Festival, day 1 and 2, and his fancies for the week. So we'll catch up with Dessie first of all. And here's what Dessie had to say. We're delighted to be joined by Dessie Scahill, legendary voice of Irish racing and racecourse commentator for almost 50 years in Ireland. How's the retirement going, Des?
Yeah, going very well, Barry. Happy now to have come to the end of the road. Been a long time involved, so spending a lot of time on the golf course and doing a few things that I wouldn't normally have done over the years, but have plenty of time, which is amazing because I was on the go around the country. Day in, day out, it was non-stop, relentless, and the old mileage had clocked up, and it was time to step aside.
A little birdie has told me the golf and handicap has improved since August.
No, the golf might have improved, but the handicap is still the same.
Okay,
I need every shot with the lads I'm playing with.
Yeah, I'm sure. And of course, you're big involved down in Kildare Golf Club as well. Do you spend much time at the racetrack now since August, Des?
No, I haven't gone racing that much. I've had a couple of invitations to go to the corporate on a few occasions, and I've only gone a few times to Naas. Looking forward now to the Coyle, which is of course my local track, and of the codes of racing, I actually prefer the flat, even though Punchestown is right upon us.
Brilliant. Well, I'm sure you'll be in attendance this week. Huge week, Des Punchestown Festival. We'll come on to day 1 first of all. The hurl champion novice, 2 mile grade 1. Some fantastic horses have won this over the years. Klassical Dream. Looked like a monster in the Supreme, Des. He's now rated 157, skipped entry, and he's been saved for this. Duvan was rated 160 after this, and Vitour 158. How good do you think he is?
Well, I tell you, I can't remember a more impressive winner of the Supreme Novice. And of course, being the Novice 2 mile event, it's always a stepping stone for the following year's champion hurdle. And I think if this horse goes on and wins impressively again at Punchestown, I think you'll probably see him heading towards the top of the market for the champion hurdle. I know Esper Dallin was very impressive and won a long way when he won the champion hurdle this year. Beat them into submission, though it was a bit of a shock result. But I think that this Klassical Dream looks the real deal, and I certainly hope that he follows up his Cheltenham win with another one here.
Certainly does. It was a softer ground, I suppose. This week will be a bit of a change, I suppose, from Cheltenham. The ground is going to be that bit quicker as well. And you answer my next question, the champion hurdle. Is that where you'd like to see him next year, Des?
Yeah, well, I mean, if he follows up with a win here, he'll obviously be the champion novice for the year over 2 miles, and it's par for the course that next year obvious step up is to the champion hurdle, and I would definitely see that would be the target for him.
Yeah, brilliant. Fully in agreement with yourself there. Klassical Dream, an absolute monster. The Dooley Insurance Group novice chase over 3 miles. We had Rachel Blackmore on the podcast Des last week, and she spoke about Plutarch. He's obviously stepping up and trip to 3 miles. He'll get the 5-year-old allowance. Can he serve it up to Delta work here?
Well, Delta work was probably on the face of it a little bit disappointing at Cheltenham. Carried an awful lot of Irish money. But I thought it was a decent enough contest this year. I actually backed the second horse, Santini, myself. But with Defi DeSalle making what I thought a bit of an unusual statement from them that Defi DeSalle is going to run over 2 miles. I was really looking forward to a good clash here. But I do like Delta work over the 3 miles. I think Delta Work will probably get back to winning ways here.
Yeah, absolutely. Dessie, just coming on to day 2 then, Punchestown, the Gold Cup of his stablemates. I was speaking to yourself down in Auckland Bridge for the return of Alboom Photo. Comes in here against stablemate Kemboy. Willie suddenly has the stay in division all sewn up, it looks like, in Ireland anyway, and in the UK. There's a pound between the two of these, 13-8 and 7-4 in the betting. Which one would you be with now?
Yeah, well, the biggest problem I have in trying to sort them two out is that I'm looking over my shoulder at Bell's Hill. If you want to go back to the Cheltenham Gold Cup, Bell's Hill was Ruby's choice of the three. And
Yeah.
although Willie ran 4 in the race, he had 3 gone very quickly. And Kemboy, who went early, came out and was very, very impressive at Aintree. Now, Alboom Photo, I think the rain will probably come and help him, but I'm very, very interested in Bell's Hill. He was my fancy for the Gold Cup, and unfortunately was pulled up in the Gold Cup and didn't get to produce his best. But I know it looks a match on the form between the Gold Cup winner and the Aintree winner, but I think Willie has thrown a real spanner in the works with Bell's Hill in this race. I wouldn't be surprised if he's a big player in the race.
Interesting stuff. Yeah, certainly. I know, obviously, Ruby, it was the choice at Cheltenham. Just on Kemboy quickly, I thought he got an easy lead at Aintree, and the pace in the race at Leopardstown was questionable as well, with David Mullins having to make that move, halfway coming up by the stands. Would that be a worry? Like, how hard a race has Kemboy really had? I mean, he's like a pound inferior to Alboom Photo coming in here, like, so it's
a pound is very, very small. It's the smallest margin you can possibly have, and I mean, one good jump here or there can change the situation. But I mean, he was very impressive at Leopardstown, even though David Mullins made the move at the right time. He still won very impressively. They couldn't get near him, and it was unfortunate that he went so early in the Gold Cup, and then he came out and shown that the Leopardstown race wasn't a fluke with an emphatic win at Aintree. I know he got a soft lead, but I think he could have put him anywhere at Aintree and still have won. He was the best horse by a long way. It's a conundrum for the jockeys, but it's not for Willie, because he could have the first 3 home.
Well, the first 3 home. You've often called it Des, Willie Mullins the 1, 2, 3. Any other runners, I suppose, for the rest of the week, for Monday, Tuesday, or over the rest of the week that you're looking forward to?
Well, I'm looking forward to another horse that won at Cheltenham, was Martin Brazel's City Island.
Yeah.
I'm very keen on this horse, particularly when he got me out of a bit of trouble at Cheltenham. I backed him when he won at 8-1. But I like him in the Champion Novice. He won at Leopardstown, Naas and Cheltenham. I think he's a horse with a huge future. Sean Mulroy now getting right back in the business, and won his own race at Cheltenham, which was a great result for all concerned. And I'm looking forward to City Island and Klassical Dream as the 2 for the week. And a couple of horses to keep an eye on in the bumpers. This Gypsy Island, this mare that JP owns now with the Fahis. I think the Gypsy Island looked exceptional last time when winning. And the Big Getaway, who got beat at Navan when the word was defeat was out of the question, shows you what can happen first time out. But he's another one for Willie in a bumper earlier in the week. So the Big Getaway and Gypsy Island, 2 bumper to look forward to. And my 2 for the week will be City Island and Classical Dream.
Absolutely. Gypsy Island is certainly an interesting one. Won very impressively last time. I'm looking forward to seeing her myself. Dessie, finally, I'm looking at you there. Is there any chance of a comeback to the commentary box? Your good friend Alex Ferguson done a U-turn out of retirement once upon a time. Is there a likely situation where you'll do the same?
I'd have no problem going back to do commentaries, but I'd have to see what the circumstances would be. Last week was the first week I didn't do the Irish National in 42 years, and I was at the meeting and it felt a bit strange. But however time goes on, you never say never. It's unlikely, but if the right opportunity came along, you never know.
So you didn't envy Jerry Hannon with the 12 Jigginstown runners, but Dessie, we'd love love to see you back at some point in time. I know you were in Batterstown last night. I don't know where you're speaking to our podcast member, Thomas Coyle, but thanks very much for coming on, Des, and enjoy the week. And I'm sure we're in for a feast of racing.
Yeah, we had a good night up there with the Blackhall Gales and Jerry O'Malley up in Caffrey's. Met Thomas there, but he didn't stay too late. I think he had to be up early this morning to ride out a few and head for Wexford. So good night up there, and I think they were happy. A bit of a race night, bit of fun, and sure, it's all in the efforts of charity, and a lot of people do an awful lot of great work, and it's only great to give them a dig out.
Brilliant, Des. Listen, thanks very much for your time, and enjoy the golf today.
No problem, Barry. Cheers. Good luck. Bye-bye.
Yeah, brilliant to catch up with Dessie Scahill earlier, and a big thanks to him for coming on and discussing. And great to hear his retirement is going well as well. And I'm sure Dessie will enjoy the week at Punchestown. We're going to come on now and cover the Tuesday, day one of the Punchestown Festival. And the ground at the minute, lads, is yielding. The first grade one on the card is the 2 mile hurled champion novice hurdle over a grade one. Klassical Dream 11-8 here, Thomas, with BetXS. We heard Dessie's opinion on Klassical Dream. Well supported before the Supreme Novices, and he really wiped the boards with them, didn't he?
I did. He was very impressive, yeah. And I think most fancy horses he takes on here today, he's beaten in the Supreme. And if he turns up in the same kind of health, you'd imagine he's going to be hard betting this, wouldn't you?
Yeah, I mean, shades of a tour. 2015 front running performance.
Yeah, definitely, yeah. And look, even as Dessie said, and you were saying earlier, he could, if he goes on and wins impressive here, he could definitely be in the light of a champion hurdle horse there towards next year.
Yeah, 8-1 for the champion hurdle next year with BetXS. I could think of, I'm not trying to, it's not a bookies benefit podcast, but with anti-post bets, but 8-1. I mean, in a division which may cut up next year. I mean, 8-1 mightn't be the worst price in the world. Ronan, would you be in agreement? Is this a full house for Klassical Dream and on this one, or would you take him on? But maybe Willie has three other runners in the race.
Yeah, it's hard to disagree that he was impressive at Cheltenham. Of course he was. He absolutely tanked down the hill, and he came up it just as well. I never want to take a short price about a horse at Punchestown, especially. Just my general way I look at things, I always want to back something at a bigger price. And Willie's got two, and obviously he's got Quick Grab him in there against him. He's interesting. He's a fresh kind of angle horse. He's not been seen since he won a Fairy House. And the one I kind of like, and I just think he's a big price, is Aramon. If you go back and watch the Supreme, he travelled as well as anything coming down the hill, and his stamina just wore out. He's not the soft ground kind of horse. At Aintree again, he was on soft ground. He nearly got out and caught Felix Desgie, who kind of got a bit of a free lead out in front.
Yeah.
I just, on the angle of decent ground, and I know it's yielding, so it's not fast ground, but it's definitely going to be better ground than it was at Aintree and at Cheltenham. If you go back through Aramon's form, he nearly beat Klassical Dream on good ground. Now, granted, obviously, Klassical Dream has improved and has more scope to improve again, but he nearly beat him at Leopardstown. And if you go back to the run before that, Aramon was a 10-length winner, albeit maybe a soft grade one, but he fairly sprinted away from the horses that day at Leopardstown. That was the Paddy Power sponsored grade one there on the second day at Leopardstown Christmas. I just think he's a price. Is 11-1. I'd be having a go at him. I'm not sure about Felix Desgie. As I said, I think he might have just got a soft lead there. And I'd be a slight worry about Gordon's horses, the way they ran at Fairy House. Whether a few of them might just be over the top. The English horse is okay, I think. I don't see why he should be shorter than Aramon on what he's done. He's very unexposed. He could be anything, but yeah, I give Aramon a slight vote there. I take a chance on him.
Yeah, just interesting that you said just about Aramon, and it looks like a race. I mean, Willie has won it with the perceived second and third strings in the last two seasons. You look at Draconian last year, Silas Emery. I can see your angle maybe with Aramon, that he has the form in the book. But he's 7-2 without, if you did fancy that. But I mean, you're taking him on with 11-1. The one thing I would say about the pace in the race, and it's always important to look at this. I mean, we saw it with Mellon. He was taken on by Ping Shu in this, and it kind of set it up for a horse that was coming from behind. So that brings Aramon into it, based on the horse that, I mean, Klassical Dream was free at Punchestown. early on. I mean, if Felix Dessie, with the change of tactics we saw with him at entry, can definitely see your angle there. Quick grab him. Aaron might be the value because Quick grab him has obviously had the layoff. So yeah, certainly.
Yeah, I just wondered a thing, Barry, on Classical Dream. I spoke to Willie last week for we do a talk and trainer kind of column in the Irish Field every Saturday, and it was the same thing before Cheltenham. He said if it was quick ground, they'd go for the 2.5 mile race, which was obviously the Ballymore at Cheltenham, but it came up soft, so they went for the 2 mile race. And he said the exact same thing. He says we have the 2 races in mind for Classical Dream. We might go the 2.5 mile route if it was quick ground, and if it was soft ground, we go the 2 mile route. So he's obviously thinks the ground might be soft enough, but I don't know. It could dry out. I know it's raining here. I'm in Dublin, and I think they're due for about 5-6 mils tonight. It could be yielding ground, but it's a long way to the race. It's 4:20. If it was dry day tomorrow, I just have slight concern with Classical Dream over 2 miles on the ground.
Yeah, look, fair enough. If he turns up in the sort of form, as you said, wouldn't be backing him at that sort of a price. I would be in agreement. I can see your angle, but I would be in agreement with Dessie Scahill. I do think he is a potential champion hurdle horse going forward. Ronan, I'll come to you again just on the Boyle Sports. The next grade one on the card, the 5:30 on the Tuesday. The Boyle Sports Champion Chase. There's a few mad lads in here, the likes of Min, Undersow, great field. Min recorded a career best up in the trip at entry. He's now, I think he's 172 on official ratings. 8-13 again, another sharp price. Is this one straightforward, or again, are you looking for value elsewhere?
It's not a race I'm going to have a play in, but I think it's a brilliant race to watch. I mean, the Min, they must be kicking themselves over not riding them properly at Cheltenham. Just the way Altior won on the day and the way he's won since, he's just starting to look a bit vulnerable over 2 miles, Altior, isn't he? I'm just thinking, yeah. Min, he came to Punchestown last year and he flopped a bit in this race, and Undersow obviously picked up the pieces. Duvan was second. It's not. I don't think it's a foregone conclusion. Min was sensational at Aintree, and maybe it is the 2.5 miles of the trip, but he won the 2 mile at Dublin Racing Festival, and he's won a Punchestown before, won the John Dorkin. I think he deserves to be the sort of price that he is, and he's 4 to 7, that sort of thing. Well, Undersow he's coming in for a fresh angle. That's why I just, I wouldn't be taking a price anyway. But yeah, Undersow would be brilliant. But he's 11 now. I guess you're just asking, is it one step too far from it? At this point, he was obviously well held
last year.
Yeah, I mean Crayfield. Jesus, I don't know. He's a bit of a headbanger, isn't he?
I was going to ask Thomas. He might know Jody McGarvey, but it's. I wouldn't envy him aboard great field now from the front, would you?
No. Look. He's a fresh horse coming into it as well. Yeah. Look, everyone knows his exploits. He's not known as a great jumper. Even when he won a Grade 1 for Jody McGarvey, I think in Leopardstown, and he near halved the last fence as well one day as well. Look, but he is a fresh horse. Yeah, he is a fresh horse coming into this. Like Min has been to both Cheltenham and Aintree. Undersow, as Ronan said, he's 11 now. He's getting on a little bit. The ground, I think, isn't half soft enough for him over 2 mile at this stage, at that age. Ordinary World was a bad third in Fairy House. Casa Grace Paddy, he's decent enough in maybe grade 2s and 3s, but coming up to a grade 1. The English horse has a lot to do on form. So maybe, okay, Min looked very good, but maybe for the punters, we're betting without the favourite. I take a chance on Great Field maybe to beat Undersow and maybe even give Min a race, because as I said before, it's very hard to go to 3 festivals getting these horses. Now, if any man's going to do it, it's going to be Willie Mullins, but it's very hard to get these horses to 3 festivals and get them there, where Great Field hasn't run since December, is going to be fresh. So he might be just worth taking a chance if he can put in a clear round.
I'm not sure, Ronan, has he had his issues, Great Field?
Yeah, he's had a couple of injuries. Off the top of my head, I couldn't tell you, but he missed a bit of time. He missed most of the season, hasn't he? And last season as well. He's a pity with him, really, because he was so talented on his day, even when he won at this festival. and it's just not been straightforward with him. It's I find it really interesting that Willie keeps on letting Jody ride him. Like I'm not sure if he rides any more of Willie's horses, but it's quite interesting that they have a little bond. Which
I think
is
it's more of a
quite
McMahon. I think it's more of a McManus sort of a partnership there, and it's been honoured.
Yeah, but it's interesting. I'd love to see him just get a clear round and see. Let's see if he go. But he was well beaten, wasn't he? The last day he felt he was well beaten.
Didn't seem to have his usual zest, if you like.
I'd be sticking to the top two Barrys. You know, I can see he's talented on his day, but I'd be going. It's whether you think Undersow is how much is he on the downgrade, I guess, because if he wasn't, he'd give Min a right race for sure. But it's whether you just have to ask that question now, I guess.
Yeah, I just think I think the tactics is key here. I mean, obviously Min was going forward over 2.5 miles. Didn't seem to suit in the Queen Mother Champion Chase, obviously over a shorter distance. But you'd like to see him getting into a battle all the same with the likes of Greyfield. So if you can settle him in handy, maybe just have him prominent. I think he'll take all the beating here, to be fair. Lads, we're going to come on to the 640, which is the last Grade 1 on the card for Tuesday, the opening. So it's the Dooley Insurance Group Champion Novice Chase Grade 1. So Ronan, in fairness, the RSA looked an absolute cracker this year. Delta Work, you couldn't say he was disgraced finishing third, as Dessie said earlier on in the interview. Carried an awful lot of Irish money. This looks a hot renewal itself, and with obviously the Cheltenham winner, Plutard, Close Brothers, doing the Close Brothers for Rachel Blackmore, and Get a Bird has been gambled on this week as well.
Yeah, I mean it's a cracking renewal, and if it's half eventful as it was last year, it'll be some race, you know, the way obviously Albin Photo, all that madness and Monolith falling. Yeah, you say the RSA form, and it looked a great race today. I'm just not sure of it's the race that people are making it out to be, as if like this is the next coming of staying chasers. I just want to wait and see next year. For me, Santini, I was a huge Delta Work fan going into Cheltenham. I thought he was a huge price for weeks, even up to a week before he was still 4-1.
Yeah.
Just on the angle that Santini and Top of the Game hadn't really much form to their book and had both been beaten and thing. And I just still think that there's not much substance to their form. And obviously Top of the Game's been beaten and well beaten by a good horse, I suppose, at Aintree and Lost in Translation. And I'm just worried, just not worried, but wondering now, is that the is the RSA form as good as everyone it is? Granted, I'm pretty sure it is good form. The three of them have come clear. But is it as good as people are making it out to be? I'm not sure. You can see Plutard was well backed as soon as Henry said he was going to go for this race. Obviously sensational, but that was a handicap chase. Obviously won really well and deserves the type of hike that he got, but you just want to see another performance from him to grant to say that he's a 160 horse, is that he's a pound better than Delta Work, who's already a Grade 1 winner twice. And for me, all the fancy prices I've been kind of taken now, but I'm really interested in Get a Bird.
Okay.
Just because there's been no issues with him. I talked to Willie there last week, and it's just that he needs to go right-handed, and he's a class act when he does go right-handed. You know, he's 3 from 5 at Punchestown, and he's really interested now coming up in trips. You know, because he had an option. He could have went 2 miles later on the week. He could have went to the Ferry House for the 2.5 mile Ryanair race. It's just interesting that they're going to run him up in trip. And as I said, all the fancy prices are gone now, unfortunately. But I think Ruby gave him a big ups as well. There, I watched the preview over the weekend.
Yeah, that's right. And off the ball,
it's really interesting. Yeah, the off the ball one. Yeah, he needs to go right-handed. Leave the form from his beginner's chase that he won. He beat Articulum and Moon over Germany in the beginner's chase there at the start of the year. Obviously, that's worked out really well.
Yeah.
The Limerick race, he got beat, but his mistake at the last probably just done for him there. And he comes in, he's the real fresh horse here, isn't he, against the top two? So, that he'd be my vote anyway. Yeah,
I personally think Delta Work might be hard to beat, but I know Thomas, you're a big Plutard fan, and I know from speaking to Rachel as well that the confidence in the camp of him getting the 3 miles, stepping up to trip. Does he shape like a stair for you now?
Yeah, definitely. And as you said there, as Henry said he wasn't going to Ferry House, this was on the agenda, and just like Ronan said earlier, like I'd fancy him more than maybe Delta Work, as just Gordon's form just has been a little bit patchy in the last couple of weeks. But like, I suppose you can't have your horses at 100% every time. Yeah, so he'd be my fancy in this. I think the allowance he's getting for the 5-year-old, I think that's probably the key. Getting £5 off these is going to be massive.
He's already rated 160, so.
Yeah, he's 160, Delta Works 159, and he's getting £5 off him. Now, ratings are ratings. He has to go and run the grade 1 and show he can do it as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, he'd be my kind of pick in this sort of race, so he would.
Yeah, lads, just quickly, anything else for day one? Anything in the handicaps? Ron, I'll come to you. Bumpers, handicaps, what are we looking at?
I do. I really fancy 2 in the handicap. There's only one handicap on the first day. That's the Killashe handicap hurdle. And I did this race earlier on, kind of priced it up myself, and I just expected to see Ray of Time and Noel Mead's horse Cosmos Moon towards the top of the market, and they aren't really there. You can get 8-1, 9-1 about Ray of Time, and I think Cosmos Moon is a 10-1 chance. I just thought they're the real kind of progressive novices here, and their form really sticks out for me. Like Ray of Time was second to Animix last day, and we all know how highly touted Animix is, and you had to give him £8. I just think, that's Animix would have to have been running to like 1-2-1 or something there. I'm sure Willie thinks he's better than a 1-2-1 horse. So you're just thinking that Ray of Time could be well handicapped off 1-2-7, and the same with Cosmos Moon, who was second to a horse called Cashback on his first start for Noel Mead. He joined Noel Mead's from Robbie McNamara's. That Cashback was second in a grade 2 at Fairy House. And it's gone on. He hasn't got a rating yet, but he must be 140 or something like that.
Yeah.
And Cosmos Moon's running here today off 122. He beat Debussy last time at Limerick. So I just thought they were, possibly could have been half the. So I played both of them in that race. I don't really have much of an opinion elsewhere now. I couldn't tell you anything. That's one that I'll just watch, and I'm really interested in the Land Rover bumper. But I wouldn't really be having to play betting wise anyway.
It's hard to predict those lots of horses. We don't know much about them. Thomas, anything for you?
Yeah, well, I had a look at this handicap as well, and Ray of Time was one that I picked out as well. I think if he can settle a little bit better, if he does settle, he definitely has a chance. He's been very keen in some of his races, but off that weight, 10-11, and as Ronan has said, he was my pick. Maybe one at the top as well. Golden Spear, Tony Martin's horses are coming into a bit of form as well. Last time we haven't seen him for a while. It was at the Down Royal Racing Festival before Christmas, and he won I think it was a grade C handicap up there, and he won it for young Owen O'Connell with a bit in hand, I thought, but we haven't seen him since, which is a little bit of a negative. As well in the Land Rover, just one eye catching is Robert Tyner and Derek O'Connor. Robert's won it twice in the last 3 years, 2016 and 17, so he knows what it takes to win one. And I'd imagine getting Derek O'Connor, he's not getting him for the good of his health.
No, brilliant. Yeah, look, lads, I'll tell you what we'll do. We'll come on to Wednesday of the Punchestown Festival. Obviously, the ground is as is, so there'll be a change on that, potentially. But just coming to the 5:30 is the Irish Daily Mirror novice grade 1 over 3 miles. Thomas, Manila Endo. Rachel Blackmore wouldn't like to hear many people saying it was a fluke. 50-1. Done it the hard way at Cheltenham. Owner Barry Maloney as well, good supporter of the game. Heads the betting here. What's your thoughts on this one?
Yeah, definitely. As you said, definitely done it from the hard way. I think he picked it up from about 3 out, and he kept going. Look, this is a good race, and it's got more. At least there's a good few runners, and there's more into it. Commander of Fleet as well for Gordon has to be a big player in this. This race, the race that Manila Endo won, actually the first, second, and third take on each other again. With Allaho was third for Willie Mullins. So that's the race that we have to.
He's one of my bets of the week now. Allaho. I think I was really impressed the way he done it on his run before Cheltenham, and
he actually bet Manila Endo in his run before Cheltenham, didn't he?
Well, he travelled so well at Cheltenham. I thought, if he'd have settled that a little bit better. I know going over fences next year, they think the world of this fella. but I'd be very interested in him. I think he's talented. And just on the Wednesday now, he would definitely be by one of my bets of the day. I think Manila Endo, obviously done it the hard way at the Cheltenham Festival, but I would be willing to take him on here with a horse. I think coming back to Punchestown, that bit more experienced as well, don't forget. Ronan, what's your thoughts on this one?
Yeah, Barry, I would have thought Manila Endo would confirm the form here. He's really lightly raced for that type of Albert Bartlett winner. Usually takes a real tough kind of horse. Yeah. And he obviously beat Allaho, or got beaten by Allaho at Clonmel, but reversed the form at Cheltenham, and I think he's probably going the right direction here. And just because he's 50-1, he seems to be a bit underestimated by the market at the moment. Anyway, I think he can get 3-1. So I'd probably come for him around 3-1 at this point anyway.
Yeah, brilliant. So half an hour after that, lads, is the Coyle Punchestown Gold Cup. You heard from Dessie Scahill earlier. He likes Bell's Hill in this. It looks like there's a possibility of a Willie Mullins 1-2-3 here. Holds all the aces. Gold Cup winner, Aintree winner. Bell's Hill was Ruby's choice. Thomas, I'll come to you. What's your thoughts? Which way would you swing here now?
Yeah, it's going to be another cracker race. For me, I'd say I'll go with Album Photo. Has done nothing wrong. As we said earlier, was going to win the 3 Mile Novice in Punchestown here last year. I thought he stuck it out really well in Cheltenham as well. Has missed Aintree, not like Kenboy who's gone, but Kenboy didn't get much of a race in Cheltenham. To be fair, he unseated at the first. Saying that, he was very impressive in Aintree. But I'll stick with Album Photo. He's a young pretender. Well, they're both young pretenders. They're going to be around for a while, but I think there's something about Album Photo. I think he's going to take a lot of beating.
Yeah, just on Ronan, I'll come to you on Album Photo as well, because interesting theories going around in the last couple of years, I suppose. When a horse wins a Cheltenham Gold Cup, they never potentially come back the same horse, or you hear these sort of theories going around. You couldn't say that about Album Photo down in Loughlin Bridge for the homecoming. He almost was kicking, bucking. He nearly broke up Loughlin Bridge below. What would be your thoughts on this particular matchup now?
I mean, I if you're asking me on the matchup, I'd plumb for Album Photo. I just think he's a stronger stayer. I'm still a bit suspect over Kenboy, and just the manner of which he wins is kind of like a short kind of kick at the end. But Ruby absolutely rode them to sleep at Aintree. I think he just kind of got out in front, and you could literally call it, over a circuit from home. We were watching the race in the office, and I just said to one of my colleagues, geez, Ruby's away in front here. He's not going to catch him, and it's just the way it kind of worked out. I can see what Dessie's saying with Bell's Hill. He's really interesting because he's run at Punchestown 3 times, and his form is 1-1-1, all in grade 1s, which is when you put it that way, is quite interesting. And his form at Cheltenham, I've never really liked Bell's Hill. I was trying to think why. The way you don't like a horse, or you think you never take the horse, because his form as Cheltenham is pretty bad. It's 0-0-3 pulled up. Yeah, he's just a different horse. He's just one of those horses for courses, and I can see the angle into him. And obviously, Ruby made a good point about him on that preview as well, that he'd have he'd be fresher than both of them because he was pulled up quite early. Just never going at Cheltenham, really, was he? I think he's around 6-1 for betting purposes. That would look like some sort of a better price to me in the matchup, which I think I'm actually slightly surprised Album Photo is in favour. But there isn't much between those two prices. And Bell's Hill at around 6-1, probably not the worst bet you're going to have all week.
Yeah, and just on the whole theory of Gold Cup horses, Cheltenham Gold Cup's being very hard on a young horse. What's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, you've seen it with Sizing John, didn't you? And it's not. I know they're hard on horses. It's just that they're so hard to keep those 3 Mile chasers fit and well, isn't it? I'm not. It obviously, this week will be the litmus test for Album Photo, how he comes out of the race, and you won't really know till you run him. But there's been a big gap, I suppose, between Punchestown and Cheltenham this year, bigger than usual. So if there ever is going to be a horse to kind of come out of it and win, obviously Sizing John did it the year he won the Gold Cup, so that was okay. And he's a young horse, and he's really lightly raced. In fairness, he's only the 2 runs this season, so I wouldn't be too worried about it.
Yeah, just the pace angle on this as well. in this particular race, like plenty of pace in here. Monolly, you're looking at sub-lieutenant as well, has made the run, and Kenboy then, we saw what his sort of tactics used from him at Leopardstown and got an easy lead at Aintree. So might just, again, like if this horse is taking each other on for the lead, I think Alboon Photo, I think you're right in what you say, he should be favoured for the race. And yeah, sure, it'll all unfold in front of our very eyes. Let's just talk about the bumper, the Grade 1 bumper, which is the last Grade 1 on the card on Wednesday. Thomas, I know you like the horse of Gordon Elliott's call. Was it Abracadabras going to Cheltenham?
Yeah, finished fourth as well. Behind Gordon's winner, Envoy Allen, who stuck it out real well. Yeah, he's a horse he could take a chance in as well. Look, we've 10 runners, just one down at the bottom as well. Santa Rosa for Dermot McLaughlin, trainer just over the road as well. She was third in Aintree as well. Probably, look, it's not near as strong a form as the Cheltenham one, but Dermot has had a great year and is going. There's one other horse of Willie's, Golden Spread.
Yeah, I like him.
Yeah, look, he's done nothing wrong. He was second to. Yeah, well, he won in Fairyhouse. He bet Willie's other horse, that Mount Leinster, which probably was the more fancy run with Patrick riding that. He was second as well to the good horse of Gordon Elliott's that won a point that JP McManus has bought, Andy Dufresne's. Yeah, he was second him now. He was well bet, but he's done nothing wrong since. He's won his 2 bumpers since. He's won in Turles and he's won in Fairyhouse last week. Okay, it's a lot for a young horse to turn around with such a short one, but he could be one, and Barry O'Neill keeps the ride. He could be one to keep an eye on in this.
Ronan?
Yeah, I had to laugh there at Thomas's pronunciation of Andy Dufresne. Have you ever seen the Shawshank Redemption?
It's getting a bit late in the evening.
I'm not going to have to step in here between two of me lads. Don't fancy that one.
We'll gang up in the car though, lads. Don't worry.
You're doing that for the last 10 weeks.
We'll be all right. You haven't got anything yet. Wait till the football kicks in.
Lads, anything else for day 2?
There's no prices out yet, but the Guinness Handicap Chase there, the 2.5 mile race. I spoke to Colin Tizard. Well, I didn't speak to him for very long. I rang him last week to do the talking trainer thing again, and I think he was trotting up a horse. And he eventually just hung up on me. I think he had enough of what I was asking him. But he did tell me a good thing did tell me Sizing Granite was in good form, and it's been the plan to come back and to win this race again. He's actually £2 lower than when he won it again, or won it there 2 seasons ago. And he just bounced back into form the last day at Ayr. So I'll be very interested in him when the prices come out. Have a look. It looks like quite a good race. But I'll keep an eye out for him whenever the bookies price it up.
Brilliant. That concludes day 1 and 2 of our Punchestown Preview podcast. I'd like to thank Thomas Coyle for joining us again. Thanks very much for coming on, Thomas.
Thanks, Barry. No bother.
Also, Ronan Groome as well, podcast debutant tonight for Champ.ie. Thanks very much, Ronan.
Yeah, pleasure, Barry. Cheers.
Brilliant. And Dessie Scahill as well, of course, who featured earlier on. And we wish Dessie all the best in retirement. And thanks very much as well to Dessie for helping us help out. We'll be back to preview Punchestown day 3, 4 and 5. So thanks very much to our listeners, and we'll catch you next time.